Good morning, everyone. It's finally time to talk about Feng, or is it supposed to be pronounced Feng? I don't know. If you're one of my Chinese viewers, let us know. It's my most requested tutorial on the channel right now, which shows you that my viewers have excellent taste because Feng is an amazing character. I'm sorry it's taking me a little bit of time to get this video out for you guys. It's just been a crazy week at work, but I finally have a day off today, so I'm gonna get to play some Tekken. But first we're gonna make this tutorial for you guys because I know you have been waiting patiently for it. So to talk a little bit about Feng as a character, let's get like a standard size character. I think he is very, very strong. He's one of the top tier characters in the game, or considered to be somewhere sandwiched in between like the top tier and the high tier, but he's definitely a strong character. We saw Ni use him in recent tournaments, which is just a testament to the fact that he's super strong, because Ni tends to only bother in tournament with top tier characters. You know, Brian, he played a lot of Shaheen when Shaheen was considered the best character in the game. But yeah, he's really great. He doesn't have a lot of difficulty associated with him in terms of like input. There are not any like difficult things you need to do with your hands to be successful with Feng, but he has a lot of stances and he has a lot of like transitional stuff, so he can be difficult in the sense that he's really going to thrive in the hands of a player who's very familiar with his moveset and all of his useful stuff. And so yeah, Feng is definitely scary in the hands of a player who knows how to utilize his entire moveset and to use it effectively. So the structure that has sort of emerged as we make these tutorials over the weeks has been that the first thing we're going to do is go through some basic block punishment, not everything, but just enough to get you like started with some basics, and then we're going to dive into the moveset and start off with some poking tools. So for the standing punishment, -10, you've got 1, 2, 2, which is powerful. It's rare to get like 3 hits for your 10 frame punish. This gives you 26 damage, which is above average damage, really decent. But the string does not necessarily give you a lot of frame advantage on hit, which is why it's maybe not the ideal option for a 10 frame punish, maybe when you need damage. I personally have an option that I think is a lot better, which is 1-3. And the thing about 1-3, you can see it gives you 2 less damage, so it's not as powerful in that sense, but it lands you at +6 on block, which is great because it means you can just go straight into, you know, whatever, you know, a low or, you know, any kind of like mix-up. So I mean, when you're blocking a -10 move and you know that you're going to be able to get your punish completely guaranteed, would you prefer to get 2 extra damage and, you know, maybe some better like wall carry or like wall pressure because it pushes the opponent with 1, 2, 2, or just collect, you know, 24 damage and get a very solid frame advantage for a mix-up with 1-3? I think 1-3 is definitely the better option here, but you know, maybe you disagree. It's definitely up to you which one you prefer, but I would stick to 1-3 most of the time. 1-3 is just overall a great poking tool up close because it is 10 frames, it is fast, and it gives you that great +6. You just gotta be, you know, careful with abusing strings that are high, you know. But it's great. It's also used in some of his wall combos, and I really like it. Then for -13, you've got, you know, Feng's signature move, one of his most important moves, back 1 +2, or the shoulder. And the reason this move is so fantastic, I mean, the damage is huge for how fast it is. It's 30 damage, which is really big. The range is massive as well. Let's try and show, like, yeah, you can see right there that it's got great range. It's used for like wall combos, and it is also a premium whiff punishing tool and wall splatting tool. Thing with Feng is that there are a lot of times in your like standard play where you can get guaranteed shoulders. Because you set them up with some kind of other move. And when you get a guaranteed shoulder, it's important to know that and collect the shoulder because of the massive damage that it deals. This is, yeah, such a great move. The thing about the move that you need to remember is that this move should never be blocked. When you're using this move, you should always use it because you've confirmed that it's time to do a guaranteed shoulder. If it's a wall combo, you've blocked something that is minus 13 or more, so you want to block punish with it. You've confirmed a whiff and you want to do a quick whiff punish, or you've hit with one of these moves like, you know, back Kempo 2 that you know give a guaranteed shoulder. In these situations, it's a great move. If not, don't use it because it's minus a lot. I think it's minus like 19, which means that the entire cast can like launch punish it. So be very, very careful about using the move unnecessarily, right? Okay. And then for standing minus 15 for your block punishment, you've got a hop kick. And it's so beautiful and awesome to have like a 15 frame hop kick with any character. I love it. Unfortunately, you know, my main doesn't. I gotta rely on bootleg options. But most of the characters outside of Gigas that I play and that I love have a 15 frame hop kick, and it's such an amazing tool. Because not only is it like a great 15 frame launcher to get you that punish and that combo, or for like a quick whiff punish after a sidestep or whatever, you can also crush lows, obviously, which is so important. When you have a hard read on a low, you can get a full combo like that. And it's got like standard hopkick frame data. I think it's minus 13 and not 12 on block. I'm not 100% sure there. It's listed like 12 to 13, I think, on like RB Norway. But it's not super important, you know. It is obviously punishable on block, so don't get it blocked unnecessarily. But it is like your fast launcher when you're just standing, and a very, very good 15 frame block punisher. And then for while standing, if we're just going to mention some quick while standing stuff, you've got a while standing 4, which is, you know, your fast 11 frame option, very standard. Feng's is decent, 18 damage. And then when you need to launch punish from while standing, you've got while standing 3, which is your stand-in for sort of like a generic while standing 2 or 1. This is 15 frames. Again, standard, but it's beautiful and very, very nice to have. Just a 15 frame while standing launcher for those big blocks, but mainly when you duck highs, in my opinion. That's when, you know, having fast frame data here really matters. Because if you're like blocking, you know, like a what's it called, like a hell sweep or a snake edge or something, you can usually get your launcher even if it's slower. But yeah, that's just a digression. Very, very good little tool. While standing 3 is your fastest and best launcher out of while standing, in my opinion. So that's just a quick little primer for block punishment. It's not everything, obviously, but it's enough to, more than enough, I think, to get you like started and wrecking some people in the online environment. But again, like I think 1-3 is an amazing little tool, and I really like it. You can use 1-2-2. You've got standard jab strings like 1-2, obviously, but they're like stumpy and don't do a lot of damage. But they have like extensions, right? And then you've got a standard hop kick. You've got that amazing shoulder for 13 frames, and you launch people from while standing with your while standing 3. Unless you want to use like, you know, dick punch, or you can like hop kick from for while standing as well. The dick punch is a really funny move that doesn't get used that much, in my opinion, but it might, you know, be useful. We'll talk about it a little bit more in the combo section, I guess, which, by the way, is going to be at the end of the tutorial. Okay, so let's start talking about some movesets, some poke stuff. We usually start off with pokes and mid pokes in these tutorials because I believe that mid pokes is like the most important part and like the place to start with any character, just because it's where I usually start my match. You know, I'm trying to open up offense by poking, and then I'm trying to set up more powerful moves. But having good mid pokes is also so important in a defensive sense, because you're defending against, you know, any kind of like high crush move when your opponent is down here and, you know, messing around. You can just keep them honest with a good mid. So I love mid pokes, and that's where I always start learning a character. So let's start off. Feng has, in my opinion, 2 main sort of options for mid pokes, and they're both kind of unique. They're not generic at all in terms of their frame data. So let's talk about them. First of all, you've got down forward 1. I love to start off with down forward 1 because it's like my favorite notation in the game. a normal down forward 1 for most characters will be a 13 frame mid that is around something like maybe +6 or something on hit, and usually something like -2 on block, meaning that you can chain them together and keep pressuring the opponent with them. But if you get them blocked, because you're at that -2 or whatever it may be, your opponent can like interrupt you with jabs and stuff. So it's not super abusable, but it's kind of like a very good pressure tool up close. Feng is a little bit different. His down forward 1 is not 13 frames, it's 14 frames, which means that it is 1 frame slower than you would expect it to be. But the reason it is so good is that it is not negative anything on block. This move is ±0 on block. That is very unique and very rare, but it means that the move is super abusable, because if I keep doing this, I mean, there is not really a lot of things my opponent can do to get out of this. He can't really beat this in any sense, you know, he can trade with it. But being ±0 on block is so good for a fast mid poke like this, especially when you're Feng and you have powerful counter hit stuff like back one. You can use this to set up counter tools, you can use it to set up all kinds of stuff. So I think it's an amazing move, and one of Feng's best, if not his best mid. I think it's yeah, it's unique and pretty cool. I don't main Feng. Some of my best friends, I should actually give a big shout out to my mate Samim here. He's one of my best friends and one of my you know, big Tekken rivals. He's a great Feng main, and this down forward 1 is like the only tool that really makes me interested in trying to play Feng. But it's that thing where you don't want to play your best friend's main, because it's almost like, you know, cheating with his girlfriend. You don't want to like play your best friend's main. It feels a little bit shitty, so I don't. But yeah, I love this down forward 1. I would probably party hard with this if I was a Feng player. But then the other option that you have that is even more unorthodox is you have back 4. I think this move is referred to as the fish hook. I think this is the fish hook, if I'm not wrong. I might be. The thing that is very unique about this move is that it's actually a... my headset is wonky. There we go. It's a 12 frame mid. It comes out at 12 frames, which is very rare. If you're unaware, the most like the fastest mids that a character typically has access to are 13 frames. Having a 12 frame mid is super rare, and I think it is actually the fastest mid in the game. I don't think there are any like mid pokes faster than 12 in Tekken. And you don't know, and I don't think any of the characters I play have any 12 frame mids, so it's super fast, which means that it can be used in a lot of unique situations, making it very good. But because it's so fast, it has to pay the price in terms of frame data on block, because you can't have it be like a super favorable, you know, ±0 on block. I mean, that's 12 frames, it would be too abusable. So it's actually -9 on block. All that means is that you have one of the fastest and greatest mid pokes in the game, but unlike this move, you cannot chain them together. If you get one blocked and you're at -9, it's now your opponent's turn to attack, and you need to respect that and block, or you know, you can try and like sneak out with up 4-2 or like do a down jab. Sorry, how do you do down jab with Feng? How do you do down jab? Oh, down 1. Okay, so it's just a standard down 1 for down jab with Feng. He has a lot of like weird moves, you know, like the baby tantrum and stuff. Okay, so down 1 for the down jab. That's important to know, by the way. You do down jabs with Feng by doing down 1. We just learned that. So, but yeah, you got to respect the opponent after he blocks your back 4. But it's a 12 frame mid, which means that it is great and rare and should definitely be used a lot. -9, and this again, such a great mid. 14 but ±0. I absolutely love that. So yeah. Now, in your close-up game where you're poking, you know, up here, I think an important tool to use as well is back 1. Let's mention back 1. Before that, like, okay, let's just talk about a 1 jab first for like a high. I mean, we mentioned that I really like 1-3, and you've got like stuff like 1-2 and whatever, but a standard 1 jab is a very important option to learn how to apply with any character, no matter who you play, unless you're playing Jack. Jack is like the one exception where you don't need to use 1 jab, so you use 2 instead, basically. But it is very standard for like a 1 jab, but that's good because it means that it's like just an important tool for opening up offense, right? The frame data comes out of 10, obviously, and then you get +8 on hit, which is good, above average, I think, and then you get +1 on block, which is standard. So Very, very good. And Feng is one of those characters who can actually do a lead jab. Or, yeah, let's just mention this. I don't think we have talked about it in any of my tutorials. So let's just mention it quickly. It's, you know, Tekken has a lot of very like unique hidden mechanics that you don't know about. You could play the game for like 100 years, but unless you like really start like reading up on all of this like secret information, you'd never know. And this is something that a lot of you probably do know about, but let's just mention it here. If you have a standard one jab like this, and you don't have a move that it has the notation forward and one, Feng does not. So if I press forward and one, he's just still doing his normal one jab. You should actually press forward and one instead of just a one when you're trying to poke with your one jab. And the reason for this is that it, for some reason, gives the move longer range. It's kind of weird, but you can extend the range of one jabs in Tekken by pressing forward and one. But that only works obviously unless you have a move that has the notation forward one, because if in that case you will just get your forward one move instead. Feng does not have a forward one, which means that you can use an extended one jab by pressing forward and one. So when you're trying to open up offense, especially when you're going in like this from out here, and you're just gonna like, I'm gonna run in with the jab and look for a hit and then do a mix up, right? That's your like strategy. You should do the that was a back forward one, by the way, don't worry about it. You should do the a forward version of this jab, but that's a digression. But yeah, I know like when you're trying to get into Tekken and you think like you're learning, and then it has all of this like hidden stuff. I know it's frustrating, but yeah, that's just a little digression. Don't worry about it. Your one jab is standard but very good. Now let's mention back one. Back one is one of Feng's most important tools. It's an amazing option, and it's like the premium get off me option in the game. I think it's most comparable to the 4-2 from Jack, in the sense that they are both 10 frame counter hit tools, and having a counter hit tool at 10 frames is very rare. I mean, usually you have like you know, counter hit 4 at 11, like with Shaheen, who's right here. But having a 10 frame good counter hit tool is very rare and very powerful, and the reason it's so good is like your opponent's pressuring you and just doing stuff up close all the time like this, and you're just tired of being, you know, pressured, so you find a tiny window and you catch them with a counter hit back one. It doesn't give you a combo, obviously, that would be too good, but it gives you a lot of guaranteed damage, because after this move it's one of those moves where you can get a guaranteed shoulder. So it's super dangerous, and a reason why you can't be too aggressive and too like heavy on the pressure when you're playing against Feng, because he's just gonna like watch you like a bird of prey. He's just waiting, you know, and then he sees his opening, boom, and he gets all that damage, right? It's a good way to play defensively with Feng. So you can get the shoulder. You can either do like a quick dash up into the shoulder like this, or you can wait until the opponent's legs dip back down, and you can usually get the shoulder then, like that. But I think, you know, learn how to do the dash option, because it's probably more consistent than, you know, better in a lot of ways. So you just do a quick dash and you get your completely guaranteed back 1+2 shoulder. 44 damage is a lot of damage to get guaranteed off of a 10 frame move, and that's why this move is so important and so good defensively. Defensive tool obviously, but I put it here in the sort of poking section, because when you're up here and you're doing stuff like, you know, down forward one, and you're doing your, you know, your ones and your 1-3s and what have you, when you create or an opening for a counter hit move, or you see an opening for a counter hit move, you predict your opponent to do something that you think you're going to be able to counter hit. That's a good time to use this as well. But also mainly, you know, when you're being rushed down or pressured really heavily, it's a premium defensive tool, and one of Feng's best. It is high, and it is minus on block. It is minus 10, I'm pretty sure, which means that you can get punished. Mainly be careful if you're playing against characters like Gigas, who can really blow you up at 10 frames. But yeah, it's not meant to get blocked a lot. It's mainly there for like when you have a gut feeling that it's going to counter hit, because on normal hit it really doesn't do, you know, a whole lot at all, as you can see right here. Okay, so the last move I want to mention in sort of his like close-up poking section is the up 4-2. And if you've played against Feng online, you know about this move. It's probably been frustrating you a lot. It's such a great move. What it is he takes just a very big step to the side, meaning that the move is super evasive. So what will typically happen is you're playing against Feng or you're playing with Feng, and you're just, you're poking up here, you're doing a lot of stuff, and then you get blocked and it's the opponent's turn to attack. But rather than respecting his turn and letting him attack and, playing defensively, you just do this, you get blocked, and you just dip back out with up for 2, you evade whatever option he used, and you get a hit for damage, and now you've stolen back the momentum and it's all you again. So it's very cheap. It's like, the very similar actually to like how you use a generic down jab offensively. When you're like at some minus frames and it's your opponent's turn to attack, you steal your turn back with a down jab. That's how you use down jabs in Tekken, by the way. You can you don't have to do that when you have this amazing up back two. You can use this tool instead. The move is a mid, so it cannot be ducked. It's got very good evasive properties, and it's even got some range to it, so it can be difficult to punish. I don't know if I usually punish this consistently with Gigas 1-2. I would have to test that in the lab later, but it is minus, I think, let's have a look here. Yeah, minus 10 according to RB Norway, which is, it means that it is punishable, but you can probably get away with it a lot of the time. And yeah, so like you're pressuring and then you get blocked or you're at a disadvantage and it's time to like sneak out and be cheeky and then you evade with this, right? So super good. It's vulnerable to fast homing moves. That's like the one thing it's vulnerable to. So if I was playing against Casimir, like Lars here, or maybe Jin, who have these great fast homing moves, I would like do this, and then they would probably predict, oh, he's gonna go for up for 2 here. They would probably do that, and while I'm going out, they would probably hit me, right? So I think that's the one big vulnerability of the move, but it's very abusable, very cheap, and such a good thing. Because Feng can go in, he can pressure, he can keep doing this stuff, and then when he feels a little bit scared and he feels like it's not his game anymore, palm, and he just gets out. Super good. Very, very good tool. Okay, so that's kind of it for my recommendations for like close-up game and poking game. This isn't everything, obviously, because I can't do everything. If you have other recommendations, please let us know in the comments, but don't be upset if I don't have time to mention, your favorite options with Feng. And like I said, while I do really like the character and I have studied up for this tutorial, I am not a Feng expert or anything. I haven't played him competitively almost at all. I just had to consult with a lot of people I know who do, before I made this guide. Next, let's talk about some lows. I'm gonna give you my 3 favorite options with Feng here for low pokes. I like down 4. The reason I like it is this is something that pertains a little bit to my particular playstyle. Gigas is my main, and I love Gigas' down 3. It's my favorite low in the entire game. It's my favorite low in the history of Tekken. But the reason I really love low pokes like that is normal low pokes will usually force you to go into crouch, or like you will recover in crouch, meaning that you mainly have access to while standing moves after them, or you have to do a crouch cancel by tapping up. But I like a fast low poke that leaves you standing, because what usually happens when you do that is you can get a little bit of an advantage on your opponent. You're standing right in their face, right here, with some advantage, and then you can go straight into some sort of powerful mix-up. A favorite option of mine is to go into throws, and the reason that's so good with Gigas is he has powerful throws, like overkill, but that's a digression. What I'm trying to say is that this is a very good low poke that doesn't recover in full crouch, which I think is important to have at least one option for. It's minus 11 on block. It's listed as minus 10 to 11, I think, which means that I think it's probably 11, because I think you can get while standing 4 on this. If it's 10, that means it's even better. But it's a 14 frame low, meaning it's completely unseeable and it should never get blocked by the opponent. If it gets blocked by the opponent, it means that you are doing lows on an opponent who's already ducking, which you should be very careful about doing, so don't do that. Very good. The next option I want to mention is down 2. I think this might be Feng's best low. I think it's amazing. It's a punching low, and he does this like weird little lunge forward, and Feng has a lot of stuff that moves forward, and he has the quarter circle and everything, so it becomes very difficult to confirm that this is this low as the animation starts to happen. And then the low is actually only 20 frames to come out, and 20 frames is right at the razor's edge where a move becomes unseeable, and definitely online against like just a player in the online environment, this move I think can be considered completely unseeable. But in an offline environment against somebody who's very sharp, I mean, it can theoretically be seen and reacted to. But if somebody visually reacts to and blocks this move, you're probably playing against somebody who's very good. I think you should be able to consider this move more or less unseeable. It crushes highs, it's really good, and it does good stuff on counter hit if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, it gives you this knockdown. I don't know if you can get like a guaranteed stomp, can you? Let's have a look again. I don't know what the guaranteed damage you get off of this is, but I'm pretty sure there is guaranteed damage to be had here. So sorry for not being aware of that right away, but that's easy to look up. So yeah, it gives you, I'm pretty sure, guaranteed damage on counter hit, but if it doesn't, I mean, this is a great position to be in, face down, head towards, and you're right there for Oki, so yeah. But I'm pretty sure there is guaranteed damage to be had. But it's just a great low. I think it's probably Feng's best low. I think it's amazing, and it's very annoying to play against online. And then the last option I want to mention for like low pokes is down back 3. I like down back 3, but it is it's risky, right? If you're way out here, it'll still hit. The main thing about this move is that it has good range, but the problem with it is that it is very punishable on block. I think it's minus 14 to 15, so it puts it in like the launch punishable range, and you don't want to risk getting launched when you're just trying to look for like a quick low poke normally. But the move is unseeable. It comes out at 16, which means that it should not get blocked, but it could be. There's always a risk associated with doing a low, and so when that happens, if you're playing against an opponent who knows that they can actually launch punish this, and they do, it's going to feel really sour. But I actually like the move a lot because it's going to hit from way out here, and it's got good range. I think the reason not a lot of people use it all that much is maybe you've got the quarter circle forward one, which can achieve very similar things. It's got even more range. It also has the high crush, and it hits from like way out here. So, and it's potentially better on counter hit and everything. So maybe that's why. But I think this move is good, and I think it deserves a mention. Okay, so that's probably it for like my recommendations in terms of low pokes. Let's have a drink. Let's look at the time. Okay, so we're about almost half an hour in. That's perfect. Let's talk about some stances. Feng has a lot of stances, and that's why I said he's got kind of like a big branching moveset, and you need to be aware of a lot of options with him. I think the first one we should talk about, and probably the most important one in my opinion, is the fact that he has a roll dash, or a crouch dash if you prefer. Quarter circle forward, and out of this he has some really important moves, and so you can scare people by using this. It's good for the same reasons. It's always good to have a crouch dash if you've got usable moves out of it. Some characters don't, but I think the most important move to be aware of when it comes to your quarter circle forward is the 1+2, which is like his version of a horse tamer. The reason I think this move is so good is that it's a chunky mid, 23 damage on hit, but the thing that makes the move amazing is that it's actually favorable on block. And moves that are favorable on block are always great because they're like a win-win. But this gives you +5, meaning that your opponent has to respect the +5 definitely, meaning you get a mix-up. So it's good on hit and on block, and that's why I think this move is so good. Now, when you have like a powerful mid like this, you can really empower the mid, and you can really boost the usability of the mid by mixing it up with like a low, right? Because if you harass your opponent with the low and you threaten the low, they're going to try and duck the low, which empowers the mid by making it more likely to hit. That's like the theory behind a basic mix-up in Tekken, right? And so the low that I recommend out of the quarter circle is quarter circle 1, which we mentioned briefly earlier. This is such a great move. When I'm playing against Feng online and he's just backdashing and stuff, and I'm just waiting for this move to come out, I'm always just barely able to block it, and sometimes not, obviously. It's fast enough and has long range enough that it's sort of difficult to deal with, and he has mid mix-ups. But the range is massive, good damage, good everything. Evasive, obviously, because it comes out of the quarter circle, right? But the other great thing about this is you actually get a full launch on counter hit. I think what you need to do to scoop up after this is 1+4. Yeah. So that's like the combo. We're going to talk more about combos later, obviously, but I think this is a great low. Full launch on counter hit, evasive, long range, high damage, and you have mid mix-ups, so amazing. And yeah, I think this is like your main threatening tool out of the quarter circle, and you can always go into the mid horse tamer for the mix-up. And the horse tamer is so good because not only does it give you great stuff on hit, it's even good on block. So I mean, what a great little mix-up out of his quarter circle. Absolutely premium stuff. Right, and another move I guess I should just mention here is that you have the 2. And the reason I mentioned that is if you're really confident, if you have a hard read on that your opponent's going to duck, I mean, you can always use the horse tamer, but you can, if you have a hard read on duck, or if you want to like whiff punish, I guess it's a little bit slow, you can use the 2, and then instead of like a big mid, you get a full combo. But that's, you know, punishable, so you got to be careful with that. It is punishable, right? Yeah, -14, I think. So it's, yeah, dangerous to use. But if, you know, you hard rate a mid, that's what you want to use. It looks cool. It feels very good to connect with. It's a cool move. Yeah, but that's just a little quick note on your quarter circle stuff. I mean, if you just want to do a quick, nice mid, you can do the 4, and you just get his while standing 4 out of the quarter circle, which is always a good option. It's an option I love to use when I'm playing Leo. So yeah, that's like your safe, fast option. If you're just trying to like create some offense out of the quarter circle, you can use your while standing 4 for a good mid. Moving on, I think the next I want to talk about back turn. Feng is one of those characters that has a very usable back turn and wants to spend a lot of time in back turn. We talked about 1-2 as one of his 10 frame punishers, and another reason to use that for 10 frame punisher is that you can hold back, and that will put you in back turn, and then you have, you know, only 1+ frame, but you're in back turn. The thing about Feng's back turn is that it's a powerful mix-up tool, but you can't just like go up and like go into it manually a lot of the time, so you need like an opening to go into it, which is why it's very good to be able to do it off of like a 10 frame move like this. But mainly you see this used as like an Oki, a mix-up tool for Oki. So Feng will do stuff like knock his opponent down, run up, go into manual back turn, and now his opponent's going to be really stressed out about how they should be getting up off the ground, right? It's a great mix-up tool, and you know, it's very similar to like Lily or Raven, how they use their back turn for a lot of like mix-up stuff. And the thing about Feng's back turn is that it doesn't have like a normal transition like with back 3+4. To get into it, you have to press, because back 3+4 is back Kempo, you have to press back 3 tilde 4, which is a little wonky input if you're not used to doing like a tilde inputs. Basically what it means is that you press 3 and then 4, but you don't do back 3 4, because if you do that you just get this move. You have to press the 4 just slightly after you do the 3, basically almost together but not quite. So you're just like sort of like if you're pressing 2 piano keys in sequence. And that's how you do in a tilde input, and they're very rare in this game. They don't really exist on the new characters, I think, but some characters like Raven and Feng still have these tilde inputs. So get familiar with doing this quickly and reliably. You don't want to be messing up the manual back turn transition, because it's important with Feng. So yeah, that's your back turn, and now I'm just going to give you my recommendations for like great moves to use out of back turn. Again, it's not going to be everything. You have standard stuff like a back turn hop kick, obviously, which is important to know about. But my personal recommendations, first of all, I want to mention 2-2. I think this is a great mid. It is punishable, I think -13. But it is mid-mid, it knocks down, and it gives great damage. So I think it's a great mid and mix-up tool out of back turn, and it comes recommended. But an even better mid, I suppose, that I would recommend even more is 1+2. 1+2 is amazing. It's a great chunky big mid, and the reason this is so good is it's actually safe on block. Let's have a look here. yeah, -5, which is great. So I really like back turn 1+2, and I mean so do Feng players everywhere because it gets used a lot, right? Having a big safe mid like this is so great, especially since Feng has scary lows from back turn, meaning, you know, it has a powerful mix up here, and I think this move's great. So that's like your main dangerous mid, I guess, but if you really think your opponent's gonna duck, you can knock them down and collect the 2/2 as well. And then for like the low mix-up, I mean, just like Raven, he has the down 3. This is like basically exactly Raven's down 3 in the sense that it's a low launching sweep with similar speed, but it needs the clean hit to get the launch. It feels like to perform it, actually now that I'm doing it, it feels identical to Raven's down 3 from back turn. Even the same notation, right? If you don't know about clean hits, you can see like the clean hit there on the side. All it means is like if I'm hitting with a move from out here and it just barely connects, like maybe I'm doing, say I'm doing this 3 out here, this is not considered a clean hit because I'm just like barely hitting. But if I'm way close and I get a very deep hit on my opponent, that's considered a clean hit. So with this launcher, all it means is that if I'm close to my opponent, it will launch. But if I'm a little bit further out and I just barely connect with it, you see even there it actually gets the clean hit. It's not hard to do. Let's see if we can get an unclean hit. Let's get a dirty hit with this if we can, just to show you. There we go. So that was not a clean hit, it was too shallow, and so we didn't get the launch. But the thing with Feng's sweep is that it's very easy to get that clean hit. You don't have to be very close at all. It's usually just going to be like, you can just consider it a low launcher with just a little bit limited range. But it's very good, and it empowers, you know, your mids, such as back turn 1+2 and back turn 2/2, because it's such a powerful move. And then, you know, you've got one for a quick one jab out of the back turn. And another good option out of your back turn stance is always to be aware of your throwing options. This is like true with any character. When you're back turn and you throw from back turn, it's got great mix-up potential, and it really works well against opponents at a higher level, because opponents at a higher level, they have trained themselves to watch the hands of their opponents and use the animation of the hands to deduce how they need to break the throw. But you can hide that by doing a throw from a back turn, meaning that your opponent will not be able to accurately predict what they need to do the throw break with, and so that means that they simply have to guess, and the throw becomes a real mix-up. The way I do this throw from back turn that I'm doing here is 1+4, and it's 50 damage, which is obviously massive. I mean, what a great option. What a great option, throwing from back turn with Feng. Amazing, amazing. I'm liking this character more and more as we're talking about him. I'm probably going to have to go online and try a couple of games later. Alright, is that it for back turn? I mean, I'm going to show you the combo off of stuff like this later. Okay. How are we doing for time? Okay, 35. Let's speed up a little bit. So, next we're going to talk about back Kempo. Back Kempo, there we go. This is a very important stance with Feng. I mean, you've seen it if you ever played against Feng online. It's a favorite option for Feng players to use at the beginning of the round, because if I do this just at the beginning of the round and my opponent sticks out a move, you know, I get a whiff punish. Don't abuse this option at the beginning of the round too much at higher levels, because it's such a popular option that your opponent is going to be able to predict it, and it is actually possible to chase this down. So you got to be careful. But the way this move is used, okay, so we talk a lot about these backdash cancels, the Korean backdash cancel in Tekken, right? And so it's a very important, very advanced technique to use. The problem is, like, it's one of those basic techniques that you need to play the game at a high level, but then the problem is that it's super hard to do, right? So it takes, you know, some people up to like a year to perfect the Korean backdash. But Feng has this great option where he can use back Kempo, the notation is back 3+4, to create a lot of space and create whiff punishes from his opponent. And it's just kind of like a manual, very ergonomic and smooth way of doing this. And I guess maybe you can use it as sort of like a bootleg option instead of backdashes in the beginning. But it's just a very good option for like when you're up here and you're pressuring, and then you can like dip back out with this. or when your opponent's trying to come in and like do a move, you can dip out and make them whiff, and then you're mainly, I think I'm not wrong in saying that you're mainly looking for whiff punishes with back Kempo, because I feel like most of the moves he has out of the back Kempo are designed for whiff punishing purposes, but that's just like my take on it as a non-Feng Feng expert. But yeah, it's an evasive tool, and you dip back and you look for like an opportunity to come in with something. And so if we're going to talk about like my recommended moves out of the stance, I love back Kempo 1. Back Kempo 1 is an evasive low that you come in. It has great range. You know, you dip back really far and then you come in with this chunky low. 22 damage, super good. It's minus 13, I'm pretty sure, which is not too bad on block. And on counter hit, I think this is another move where you can get guaranteed stuff. Let's try and get the stomp this time. Okay, there we go. That's 45 damage, which is really good. Looks like you got to be a little bit clutch to get it to connect naturally, but it's definitely possible because my opponent, I think, is set to all guard, right? Yeah. So my opponent is set to second option all guard, meaning that it means that this option is actually natural, and this is something that I should have used, you know, in all my tutorials. A very unfortunate thing is that my layout tutorial, which is my most like popular video on this entire channel, I think it came out all right, but I was still kind of you know, new when I made that, and I accidentally said that his down forward 1-2 is a natural combo. That's not true, and so even though the rest of the tutorial I think came out all right, a lot of people were upset that I, you know, at the very start of the video said something that was inaccurate, and it actually bothers me a lot that I did that accidentally. So I'm definitely going to use this option in the future. We should just mention it. When you're in training mode, you've got, you know, action 1, action 2 right here, and you should set action 2 to all guard, because what that means is that if your opponent can block, okay, so for example, this is a natural combo, right, because it's a punisher with Feng. Let's turn off counter hit, but that's what's not a natural combo. Yeah, forward 2-1 is not a natural combo, so you can see Shaheen is blocking the second hit here, and that's just an option to check if your strings are actually natural combos. And it's very important to use when you're in practice mode. I think this should be like a default setting actually when you're practicing, but whatever, that was a digression. Let's keep talking about back Kempo. Back Kempo gives you the knockdown and the stomp on counter hit. I don't think you can get a 4-4-3 guaranteed, but if you can, if you know that you can, please let us know in the comments. If you do, it's got to be very fast, I think, but you can get a run up down 3+4, which is that stomp that I did, that one, right, for the 45 damage. So that's very good. The next move I want to talk about out of back Kempo is back Kempo 2. Probably my favorite option out of this stance. It's great. The great thing about this move is, you know, it's a quick whiff punishing tool that's high. So like I was about to say, but I don't play a lot of Feng, so I don't always play Feng, but if I did, I would probably do this and look for a small whiff punishing opportunity. If I find it, I would do 2. And the reason that's so good is, you know, it's a high damage knockdown move, but this is another one of those moves that will give you the guaranteed shoulder. So it's great. You want guaranteed shoulders because the damage is massive. So you run up and you do the shoulder, back 1+2, and that gives you a 44, which is very solid. So that's super good. It's a very chunky whiff punish, but if you feel that your opponent's definitely going to like duck looking for the low, or that you've created a big whiff punishing opportunity, like maybe you do this and your opponent does like a hop kick or something, then you can use 3, which is a launcher, and you can get a full combo from your back Kempo whiff punish. Which is great. It's got kind of standard hop kick frame data. I think it's -12 on block, so it's very standard for like a hop kick, but it's a super evasive version of a hop kick, which I think is super cool. I like the animation. I like, you know, the way Feng fights, because normally when you get like kung fu characters in games, they're usually like little girls who are like, you know, jumping around, or they're like Law, you know, the generic Bruce Lee clone. But just having like a really buff, massive, like Chinese dude just have this very chunky, deliberate, cool kung fu style. I think it's absolutely amazing looking, and I love Feng's visual design. But enough about that. Okay, so that's just back Kempo. Super good evasive tool and whiff punishing tool. Now you've also got forward Kempo. I think the actual name of this is Parting Clouds. I'm not sure, but it's usually referred to as forward Kempo, and this is back Kempo. Forward Kempo is the way it is used is it has built-in parries, right? He can parry multiple punches and get guaranteed damage if your opponent keeps on punching into this stance. So you can use it to like parry your opponent's punches, and then you can go into your forward Kempo moveset. Not as useful as his quarter circle or his back Kempo in my opinion, but it is a thing. And so I'm just going to mention two good options that I like out of this. The 4 is a good low. I think it gives you +2 on hit, which is not huge, but it's enough that you can get something. But it's chunky, 20 damage. It's good to have a low there. And if you think your opponent's gonna try and duck it, you can do forward Kempo 2, which is a mid launcher, where he sort of like here's your lunch. Like it gives you the waiter's tray right to the chin. It's pretty cool animation. But yeah, this is a -13 move, so it's a punishable mid that launches on normal hit, standard stuff. And then you've got forward Kempo 3 for like a knockdown high. That's duckable, so you got to be careful about not getting that ducked. I'm not going to go into too much depth about forward Kempo here, but those are just some standard options out of this stance. If you want to learn how to use the stance effectively, watch some high-level Feng gameplay and look at in what instances the very experienced Feng players like to apply this stance, and sort of try and deduce why it's a favorable option in those situations. But I think back Kempo and quarter circle are both and back turn obviously are more important options, and options that I think you should worry about using more initially. Alright, so let's talk about now that we've done like a basic intro on his stances, let's talk about the fact that you have a down forward 1+2 command throw. I always mention this in all of my tutorials because I think it is important to be aware of a 1+2 break throw. I'm pretty sure this is a 1+2 break, and the reason that's so important is you can break generic throws in Tekken 7 by pressing any punch button, which means that if your opponent happen to be pressing 1 or they happen to be pressing 2 when you do your standard throw like this one, it can just get broken randomly because your opponent lucked out and they just happen to be pressing the option that broke that throw. But they're much less likely to be pressing exactly 1+2 when you happen to be doing a throw. The other thing about this is because you can break generic throws with 1 or 2 in Tekken 7, when a lot of people see a throw, they will just dive onto one of their punch buttons and press that because it's like a option that is going to break both 1 and 2 throws, but it will not break 1+2 throws, which is why you need to be aware of an option so you can actually do some throw mix-upping. And I mentioned earlier how I think it's a great option to throw from back turn with Feng as well. I mean, 50 damage, it's so massive, so good. So that's good, and then I think this is actually a throw that gives you some pretty decent Oki options because he knocks you down right there at an awkward angle. So very good stuff, be aware of that. I guess we could mention Feng's Power Crush quickly. This is 4 forward 1+2. It's a kind of unique move in the sense that if you just do it like this and it hits, you get a knockdown and 21 damage, but if you cause hesitation, you can charge the move up, and if you charge it up fully, like that, it doesn't knock down, so you don't get a knockdown on fully charged up hit, which is weird, but it gives you this cool stun. If you look at, I don't know why, it makes me think of this is silly, but if you look at Shaheen, the stun animation here, if you've seen that famous YouTube clip where that Spanish comedian or television guy, I think his name is Risistas, he's laughing in this really high-pitched laugh on a talk show, and it's like one of those favorite videos where people give their own subtitles. and they've made, you know, a video where like he says he's talking about Lucky Chloe. The host, when he's listening to the laugh and he's laughing his ass off, he does this exact stun with Shaheen. I don't know why I bring that up, but he looks identical to the host in that talk show clip. Whatever. The thing about, I'm sorry guys, the thing about this charged up version is, if you're really fast, you can get a guaranteed shoulder, and there I was fast enough, and that's 58 damage, which is more than an entire standard combo with Feng, meaning that it's super good. So you know, you have to be able to cause that hesitation, but obviously you have a hit of armor, meaning that it's kind of likely to hit, and when it does, I mean 58 damage, are you kidding? It's so good, it's so massive. So it's a cool power crush and I like it. Okay, so we're getting a little bit tight for time here, so we're gonna just jump over and talk about combos quickly, and then we're gonna wrap this up. I think the combos. So the first thing we need to mention in this section is that Feng has this amazing move, 4-3, and the thing about this move is that you can substitute your Oki and your combo ender in any situation for 4-3, and if your opponent stays on the ground, you're going to get massive damage, but if they get up and they block this move, it actually gives you a massive frame advantage on a block, meaning that you can go straight into a mix-up, and so this is a great option, and sort of a generic ender and Oki tool for Feng that I think needs to be mentioned, so I'm going to stick it here at the beginning of the combo section. But to just give you a standard combo for Feng off of his hop kick, the combo I'm going to show you, the reason I think it's good for this tutorial is it's a very standard option that has built-in wall carry, because you're going to end the combo with 4-3-4, which is a good wall carry option. And so when you have built-in wall carry in your combo, you don't need to worry about modifying your combo when you're looking for the wall, which is nice when you're new to a character. The other reason I think this combo is a great option is that it works off of a lot of Feng's launchers, which means that if you can learn how to perform this combo, you can combo off of a majority of his launchers without, you know, having to worry about different combos. There might be more optimal options. If you are a Feng main or you know a lot about Feng combos, please let us know about your favorite combos in the comment section. But for now, what I'm going to show you, let's talk through it first and then show it. I'm going to launch and then spin with 1+2, which is a great homing move and high damage spin move and launcher with Feng. And then I'm going to do a 4-3-4, reflow with a single jab, and then do another 4-3-4, and that's the combo. So let's have a look. Alright, so that's only 56 damage off of the hop kick. It's not huge, but I think it's good enough, and this works really well off of a lot of launchers. So to just mention the launchers where I think this combo is a good option. Off of 4-3-4 itself, which is a great option for whiff punishing, very high damage, very long range, but very punishable on block, so use it, you know, when you've confirmed whiffs or confirmed hits. You can do the exact same thing, and you can get massive damage, 73. The last point of damage there is the wall splat damage, 1 point. So that's very good. You can use the exact same option off of his sidestep 4, which is an evasive and fast low launcher with Feng, which is very good and important to use. Okay, let's try it again. This is another launcher where you need that clean hit, by the way. There we go. What other? Oh, back Kempo 3, exact same thing. While standing 3, you can do the same combo again. So this is why I just think this is such a good, like, generic option, right? And then let's talk about the combos where you actually need to do something different. So you have this launching option, which is 4-4, right? On the normal hit 4-4, you can do the exact same combo that I've already showed you, but a favorite option of Feng players is to use this and then hold back to go into back turn, because it's like you can use that and then you can go straight into like down back to do this evasive duck back, and it's like an option for like playing keep out and fishing for launches with Feng. And if you do the back turn transition, what you have to do to get the combo on hit, you have a lot of time to do this, so it's actually kind of easy to do. But you have to cancel the back turn with down forward and then do a while standing 1 to be able to get your combo. So you have to do something like that, right, to get your combo off of that option. Off of the spin move forward 1+2 itself, the combo that I do is you need to do like a small dash into 3-3. You then reflow with a jab, and then you can do 4-3-4 shoulder. So that would look like this. Good damage, great option, but that's a combo where you can't use the standard option. We can talk about the dick punch. Off of the dick punch, I think what I would use is this. So that's, I just wait until he gets back up standing, but you can do a crouch cancel as well if you'd like, and then you do 4-3-4. Single jab, spin with forward 1+2, and then you run up and do this generic ender, which is down forward 1 into shoulder. Off of his down back 4, which is his snake edge, I would do this. But you can actually get more damage, I think, if you do, what's the option you do want to do here? I think it's actually better to, yeah, that's 60 damage, that's better. So that's just a while standing 1 into down back 1-4, which is this great spin move with Feng, and then I run up, or I do a full dash, and then 4-3-4 into shoulder, which is, you know, a generic good ender with Feng. What other launchers do we need to talk about? Talked about while standing 3. Let's talk about a good combo off of back turn down 3, because that's important. So what I would do off of this launcher is, what do I do off of this? Alright, that works. So that's a quick option for a combo there. Again, there might be more optimal options, obviously. So if you are an experienced Feng player, let us know. But I think these are decent options and easy ones to use when you're new to the character. And then if we're going to transition to the wall here quickly, you have a couple of generic options. So you can wall splat. You have, you know, good stuff like you have your shoulder, you know, and some really good stuff. Another good wall splatting tool that I want to mention here before we show you the combo is sidestep 1+2. And the reason this is so good is it's mid, but it comes out of that sidestep. So if you're able to create a whiff with a sidestep, you have a very good wall splatting option in the shape of this. It works for Oki as well because it has, you know, that little bit of delay. So that's a very good wall splatting option, but he has a lot of like good options for his wall splat. And then for the wall combo, one option you can use, let's use the shoulder for the example as the wall splat move. You can use 3-3-4. That's very easy to perform, and a reason it's good is because he goes in a back turn, and like I've mentioned earlier, back turn is a great option for like Oki and pressure, especially after a knockdown. So if you want to go in a back turn, you can use that. Another option, standard option, is 1-3 shoulder. That's more damage and very good. But my preferred option that I actually want to show you is 4-2-1 shoulder. That's 61 damage. So I think this might be the optimal damage option. It's the option that I would use at least. And one thing you need to know about this is look at the difference here. That did 61 damage, but if I do this, I only get 51. The reason is this is forward 1-2-1+2, which is a string. That's not what you want to do. You want to wall splat, do 4-2-1, wait until the string ends, and then do a manual shoulder with back 1+2 to get the damage. So that's an important distinction. Right. So that's just some standard wall stuff with Feng and some standard combos. I'm sorry we didn't have time to go through everything because of time constraints, but please use the comment section and inform each other, and please enjoy Feng online. Amazing character, and I really respect the character. Thank you so much for watching, guys. I mean, the support for these videos is overwhelmingly positive, and I really enjoy making them, so we're gonna make some more stuff very soon. Let me know what you want to see, but thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye bye.